The AussieHire.com.au improved production under 2 litre championship headed to Wakefield Park for their most recent round. A round of the club championship, but not the state championship. However, it would still give us a good indication of who was where and doing what. This man, Kurt McCreadie, in the green machine, getting to the front of the field. He was leading the championship and would be leading into this final round. He's had a great season so far. Not a great season for Ryan Jagger, who pulled over after charging through the field in the races at Wakefield Park. Bohm also pulling off, which would affect his club championship as well. Great battle between the Prices at the last round, with Henry Price really coming along in leaps and bounds. You can see that he was starting to be watched quite carefully by the Wilderness and Prices now, because ultimately he would be a competitor for the championship. This man though, McCreadie, took home comfortable victories, and as we go into the final round, he has an unbeatable lead in the championship standings. Interesting to see what happens across the day. Of course, a condensed one-day meeting here like we've seen in the championship in 2020. Taking a look at the starting grid, Jason Handy on pole, Kurt McCreadie behind that, Justin McClintock in third, and Henry Price rounding out the top 4, the front 2 rows of the grid. And you can see it was Wildridge who got the launch. He would swing to the outside of Price, McClintock in the inside. You can just see him poking out from behind Hendy, and then McCreadie beside that. It was Hendy and McCreadie at the front of the field who would battle it out in this opening race, as we took on board there with Michael Sherwell in the Nova Air and Electrical Toyota 86. Right in the mid-pack, plenty of great battles all the way through. McClintock, while he could stay within touching distance of the leading 2, there was not a whole lot he could do about them in this first race, as Justin Hendy and Kurt McCreadie started to pull away. You can see here a bit of a moment between Ian Price and Phil Armour. And then Wildridge had a huge lock-up down into turn 2 during this battle as well. These guys were not giving each other any more room than they had to. We take a look again with Armour, and you can see Wildridge just gets sidestepped by Price there and given the room to get back on the track, but no more than he needed to. Ian Price was holding Armour back, and then we had Luke Eberhardt and Michael Sherwell in behind. A great battle pack for this one, almost half the field in it. You see here how good was the move from Sherwell. Got the pace through turn 5 and made the run over the top of the hill into turn 6 and made it stick quite comfortably in the end. Ian Price continued to put as much pressure on the back of Wildridge as he could, but was not able to find a passing opportunity. McCreadie and Hendy at the front of the field were going toe-to-toe, line astern, lap after lap. McCreadie not quite with the pace to be able to pass Hendy until the very end of the race, where unfortunately for Kurt McCreadie, the wheels fell off his championship charge. You can see there, as we take on board with Tim Robson in the Honda Civic, he was trying to give room to McCreadie, but McCreadie ultimately pulling into the pit lane with dramas to that car. It would hand Hendy a comfortable victory at the end of the race. So taking a look at the result, you can see Hendy leads home McClintock, Price, Armour, Sherwell and Luke Eberhardt in your top 6. Making a welcome return to the category after a few years away is Phil Armour. We caught up with him to find out what's got him excited about this race meeting.
Okay, so this car has always been a race car since 1986. It's never been road registered. When I bought it, it had about 8,000 kilometres on the clock, and they were all race Ks. So this car has done pretty much every track in the country and has 3 logbooks stuck together. That's how many events it's done. This car, I won the championship back in 2001. So I clean sweep the series with it, and then somebody offered me money for it at the end of the year, and I thought, okay, I'm going to move up to an RX-7, so I sold it. So then after about 3 owners, they blew the engine up and it got parked for a while. So my good friend Dave bought the car back, and it's been sitting in my workshop ever since. So I haven't really done a race in this car since 7 years. So I thought, you know, under lights would be nice and exciting, so I'll drag it out and come and have some fun. I really have to thank Abe for letting me use this car. You know, he's had the car for so long, and I think he's done about 1.5 laps down at Wakefield the whole time he's owned it. So, you know, when I said I wanted to do this event, he said no problems at all. So he's really been working, you know, the last few days and nights, making sure we can get the car all up and running, and it's going fantastic.
So taking a look at how they would start for race 2, Justin Hendy will again lead the way from Justin McClintock. Look for Kurt McCreadie coming through the field. The guys were able to get that car back out there. Craig and Matthew Wildridge, of course, as well, starting next to each other on the grid. So away they go, and it was Hendy who would again get a very nice launch. You can see the Wildridges straight through the middle of the field, as Ian Price looked to the inside to make it 3 wide down into turn 1. Not quite able to get there. Phil Armour had the great view of it, and he would just sit back behind and let those guys have their little run in the Suzuki. You'll see as well Henry Price coming back through. A DNF for him in race 1 meant he had a lot of work to do. Out in front, Hendy had a drama, electrical issues with that car, and he would pull to the outside at turn 4 to get it refired, dropping all the way to the rear of the field and ultimately DNFing out of the race. Not great for him, but absolutely fantastic for Justin McClintock and his championship charge. He would find himself out in front in the Honda Civic. Phil Armour made a move on Ian Price to be able to get the position away from him around the back section of the circuit. And then Henry Price was making his charge and presence felt, passing Matthew Wildridge down into turn 2. McCready was following him through, and Kurt McCready would make light work getting past Ian Price as well, and then get himself heading off after Craig Wildridge to be able to get himself back up into championship contention. He needed every point he could find. Henry Price was throwing everything he could at his father Ian. Of course, we spoke to them in one of the earlier coverages. They are enjoying being out on the circuit together. Ian maybe not so much this round, as Henry got past quite comfortably and was able to run away. And then Craig Wildridge had this massive moment at turn 5 and disappeared from our camera shot, getting bogged in the gravel trap and taking no further part in the race. While Matthew Wildridge had a great battle with Michael Sherwell in the Nova Air and Electrical Toyota 86. Those two swapping positions lap after lap. The 86 getting in front. You can see here Wildridge driving around the outside to take the position back and chase off after Ian Price. He'd be able to hold on to it to the line and ultimately bring it home in a comfortable position. And then we also had this great battle between Tim Robson and Jeff Hansen. But we'll let Tim Robson do the explaining of that one.
Oh my goodness. So I'm not the fastest car here. I'm not even probably the second last fastest car here. But towards the end of that second race, I caught up with a little blue Datsun Sunny. It was reeling in him lap after lap, and I thought, do I have half a chance of getting to him? And I did, and it was such a fantastic race. He was so respectful. We're into turn 1 side by side. I'm thinking, my wife is not going to be liking watching this at all. We are passing left and right, and I managed to get him. I thought he was going to blast past on the finish line, but straight up shaking hand. That's what this is about. This is all I wanted to get back into this sport for, was to have a friendly bit of a battle on the track, and Jeff really helped out. Maybe he'll get me next time, but we'll see.
How great is the enthusiasm from Tim. Unfortunately, Kurt McCready, you can see them pushing the car back down the pit lane. They were not able to get their problems rectified. That gave Justin McClintock a very comfortable victory from Phil Armour getting home in second place. Henry Price behind that for third. Ian Price getting home in fourth. And Matthew Wildridge holding down fifth at the end of race 2. So now we turn our attention to the third race of the day for the AussieHire.com.au Improved Production Under 2 Litre Championship, the final race of the season, and for the first time under lights at Sydney Motorsport Park. It'll be Justin McClintock starting from pole position, Phil Armour next to him on the front row of the grid, and then a good field of cars behind, all looking to take this first victory under lights. Not quite under lights though, of course, with the sunset quite later in the summer afternoon at Sydney. We will be driving into darkness in this race. It was Justin McClintock, though, who'd get away quite comfortably. Ian Price putting down the gauntlet against Henry to take third place, and Jason Hendy coming back through the field after those dramas in race 2. He'd be one to watch. Look at this field all over each other. Luke Eberhardt there trying to push Sherwell across and just take the incentive away from him, but Sherwell would make the pass and then fall back behind the Pulsar driver. So those two having a great battle. Wildridge running a little bit wide at the hairpin. Nice friendly wave from Phil Armour as Hendy goes past and sets out in search of Justin McClintock. Thumbs up there as well. Great camaraderie as we've seen throughout the year in this championship. The Aussie Hire Improved Production Under 2 Litre Championship, of course, thanks to all of the sponsors for this season, who you'll see rotating in the bottom of the screen. They've put a huge amount of support into the season and made sure that Improved Production could keep racing, and we value their input and support. Hopefully that continues into 2021 with continued improved grids. As we see here, Wildridge and Eberhardt, who are having a good battle. Ian Price was under pressure from Henry, and then behind that Craig Wildridge, and those three were not separated by much all race. They were nose to tail. Trying to pass was Henry. He'd line up Ian up here through turns 4 and 5 and 6. and not be able to get past braking early. Probably showing a lot of respect there to not just dive it down the inside. I think he might have lost track of where Ian was in his mirror. But then a lap later, flame out the side of Henry's car. He was wanting to push on, and he'd get the drive again through turn 5 and ultimately up into turn 6, easily make the move. Henry might be having a investigation taken into his motor by the rest of the team here after this one, because he's been able to drive past Ian Price a couple of times, and then Ian a little bit of a mistake through the final complex, and that allowed Craig Wildridge to get by. And that would see them finish in that order as Sherwell got to the inside of Matthew Wildridge late in the race, trying to chase down in front of him Luke Eberhardt in the X-Trim Motor Trimming Nissan Pulsar. Eberhardt managed to open up a gap on these two as they battled. Matthew Wildridge did not want to let the opportunity pass and was fighting back as best he could, but was not able to throw anything at Sherwell in the late stages of the race. You can see on board with Sherwell there, he's able to get the drive out of the hairpin and just be able to just stay in front of his competitor. Out in front though, McClintock had a very comfortable lead and was able to back off in the final stages of the race just to make sure that he was able to bring it home. And he would take the first victory under lights here at Sydney Motorsport Park, as well as wrapping up the round victory as well. A great night of racing for Justin McClintock. He leads home Jason Hendy, Phil Armour, Henry Price, Craig Wildridge and Ian Price in the final race of the weekend. We caught up with Justin down in the pits to get his thoughts on a great race meeting.
We've had a pretty good weekend, so a second place and 2 wins, so we won the final under lights, which was great. So yeah, no, it's been really good. The car was amazing. Had some really good guys helping me out lately, so I've been really lucky. So the car was good. Unfortunately for some of my competitors, they had a bit of a bad weekend, but hey, that's what happens, unfortunately. So yeah. First, I'm going to start with Newline, my sponsor, who are fantastic. Great oils, just supported me really well throughout the last few years. Also BYP Racing Developments, they've been really good in helping me tune the car and get it going. Gary Cook, who's been really good. But of course my competitors, without them we're not going racing. It's just been an amazing weekend of everybody pitching in and helping each other. You know, like we had a problem after the race 2. The guys over here behind me jumped in, helped me fix the car, get it going again. You know, and even Kurt, when he had a problem, we all pitched in, did what we could to help. So it's just unfortunately for him, he didn't get going again. So
there you have it. Despite a terrible final round, Kurt McCready had enough points to be able to get home for the championship at the end of the day. Justin McClintock charging through to get to second place, and Craig Wildridge rounding out your top 3. We hope you've enjoyed all the action highlights here on Blendline TV, as well as the season wrap for improved production under 2 litre, proudly brought to you by AussieHire.com.au. If you'd like to know more about IPRA, get involved and go racing with them, check out IPRANewSouthWales.org.au for all the information. Their 2021 season dates will be released very shortly. Make sure to keep an eye out on their Facebook page as well for more information. Until 2021, thanks for joining us. Bye for now.